Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals giving them. They do not reflect the opinions and views of all parties within or any and all sponsors. This is solely for entertainment purposes. Have fun and enjoy.
It's Operation Babble with Myke, Shrews. It's pop culture, music, movies, TV too. It's time to explore life. It's Operation Babble time.
Welcome everybody to the first Operation Babble Live. We are here on an impromptu episode. I am, of course, your host, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host and friend Tivis. Tivis, how are you doing tonight?
I'm running out of popcorn.
Ooh, I need popcorn. Real quick, everybody, let's introduce our guest. We have with us today a returning guest, Austin Mosier. Austin, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Tired.
I
Feel that.
It's new comic book day. I got some bangers today.
I want popcorn now, too, by the way.
It's Victoria's idea. Except you took so long, I'm almost out.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Nah, that's cool. What you're working on is cool.
Yes, so real quick, everybody, we have no one watching anyways right at this moment, so I'm just going to keep talking until we have something to say. Find us on all social media platforms. Facebook, of course, if you're watching us right now. We are on YouTube via the Myke Shrews YouTube channel. I am going to continue just talking anyways because we are going to drop this as an audio version as well later for everybody else. I am also trying to get over to the Operation Babble page and share this because I cannot find it right now. There it is. And we will share.
Should I have like chat up or something in case someone joins?
If you want to.
I don't want to.
Okay, then don't. We have comments. If anyone comments, it does show up in the thing if you click comments off the side, dude.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah. So if you guys are watching, please comment along with us and communicate and all that other fun stuff that you can or I don't know, want to do. So guys, it's nighttime. I'm tired. Tivis made me want popcorn. What do we want to talk about? Because there's a lot of shit going on right now in the entertainment
Mosher, have you
world.
seen Flash?
I have seen The Flash, yeah.
How'd you like the CG?
Oh, jeez, dude.
I think that it works a little bit sometimes because I think what the director said, you know, when he says that when it looks weird, it's usually when he's in the Speed Force and he's running and everything kind of looks stylized.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes I can get behind that and be like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But that also doesn't mean it looks good because it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like the babies in the beginning were absolute horror shows.
Oh, yeah. I honestly think this is going to be the new litmus test for people. Like, will CG ruin a movie for you?
Oh, dude, the babies at the beginning were just horrible, and I'm surprised that they actually kept the shot in that movie with Ezra putting a baby in the microwave. After he, his stuff. So I'm just kind of like, maybe not the best call, but okay. Because I'm just waiting for that meme to show up everywhere.
Well, I mean, it tanks so hard, maybe nobody knows about it.
Yeah,
it's such a weird joke anyway. Like you could have had let him put the baby in literally anything else, but like even like when they landed and he opened the door and like the microwave dings.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Are we implying that we just cooked this baby? It's a very weird choice.
Yeah.
All around.
It was. A lot of it was. Sorry, guys. I'm telling my wife I love her because she's out of town, so she's going.
Oh, that's why we're doing this.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Why not? Take advantage, Tivis, man. And you're on vacation. Tivis is on vacation. That's another reason we can do this with him anyways at night. I actually
Yeah.
plan on doing these more often and hopefully do it on a scheduled time potentially. That way people are actually watching and talking along with us stuff and be kind of fun to do.
I just put this in the group as well, so we'll see if we get more
she's
eyes.
calling me, so you guys talk because she's calling me.
Okay.
She might have seen me.
How are these going for you, Mosier?
Oh, things are going all right. Busy but good. I wish I was on vacation too.
Yeah, it's been a long year.
I have vacation time. I just haven't used it.
Have you been doing anything with the Bigfoot Studios recently?
No, we haven't really done much lately. We finally got another episode edited and up. It didn't really do anything. It was kind of like a random. It took a long time. There was no like build up to it. It just dropped, and then it's just like, yeah. But yeah, we haven't really done much. We've all been really busy. Travis's wife is pregnant, and our other partner, he just does a lot of different stuff. He's in a band and he does a lot of video stuff on the side, and I just got a job, and I was working 2 jobs for 7 months or whatever. So it's been hard to
no,
to do
I've
anything.
done that. That's insane.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't kill yourself, dude.
Yeah, I am done with that now. I enjoy having my weekends back.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, that sucks. So other than, life being life and just trashing on you, have you been watching good shit at least, dude?
Dude, I've been watching so much lately. I've been working real hard this year to watch like all the movies that I want to see. Like so many times I like miss out on stuff, but I'm like hunting it down on streaming and like renting them on Amazon if I miss them in theaters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've seen some good stuff this year. This year's a surprisingly good year. There are a lot of good directorial debuts this year.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's like Christopher Nolan coming out with a new movie and Martin Scorsese and a lot of these. But there's a lot of like one of my favorite movies so far this year is Past Lives. I don't know if either of you saw Past Lives.
No, not yet.
It's really good. Written, directed by a director. Forget her name off the top of my head.
Directed by Celine Song.
Celine Song. That's
Yeah,
it. Yes.
written and directed by. Yep.
Yeah, and it's a very sad movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really good.
I have not seen a lot of good stuff lately.
Have you been watching a lot of bad stuff, or you just haven't been watching much of anything?
Not much of anything, at least new stuff. I've
Yeah.
been watching a lot more older stuff that I've seen in the past already. Like last night, I think I ended up watching Hangover 2, which I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, that's the bad one of the 3.
I thought the first one was worse, but that's because it was hyped up.
It's the
for me
exact
so
same
much.
movie. The first 2 are interchangeable.
Yeah, somewhat, except you don't see chicks with dicks in the first one. So I don't know if I can say that anymore. Crap.
We're live.
Oh well, so sue me. They won't get much.
I finished
Anyway.
Power Rangers Turbo. Finally.
Yeah, no, it's not a great movie. it's a lot of stupidness. But yeah, other than that, like I've been watching a lot of Godzilla, old Godzilla stuff.
Nice.
We found a channel on Pluto that's nothing but Godzilla, so it's like 50s, 60s Godzilla stuff. And then we watched the Shin Godzilla film from 2018, I believe it was, or 16. One of
I've
those
heard a
two.
lot of good stuff about that movie from my
Dude,
buddies who watch Godzilla.
that movie is freaking awesome, and that Godzilla is a beast. Like, I hope that they continue on doing more stuff with it.
Well, they got one coming up. I forget the name of it, but I think it's in the same series as that new one.
For the Godzilla,
Yeah, hang on.
because I know they did a Shin Ultraman has he did a Ultraman one as well.
No, it's giving me the friggin' next Godzilla vs. King Kong.
I don't know.
Oh, Godzilla -1.
That's a movie or a TV show? I
a
thought that was
movie.
like an animated. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not
Says it's
too
the
familiar
sequel
with
to
a lot going on
Shin.
right now. I think like the last thing I saw in theaters was Flash or Guardians, whichever came last.
Oh, Flash.
Flash.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did see the Spider-Man Spider-Verse movie, the second one,
I
which
still haven't
pissed
seen
me
that
off.
one.
It pissed you off?
Yeah, the ending. I didn't know it was a two-parter. I was like, "Oh fuck you guys!" It's a great movie, but
It was definitely advertised as a two-parter.
I didn't watch any of the advertisements, so I was just
I didn't know that.
they do this like just dead, like you're not like a Star Wars ending almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh man.
The
I
last-
literally said in the theaters out loud, and it was just me and my two kids. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they got like 3 in the works, so
I
there's
thought
no one
only,
that's focusing on the Spider Gwen or Ghost Spider, whatever they're calling her in these movies.
but isn't that well, Ghost is who she becomes after she's called Spider-Gwen, I thought. But aren't they doing like live action? Because it's rumored that it's gonna be like Nicolas Cage's first TV show ever.
I don't know if that's connected or not, but yeah, you're talking about the Amazon show Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah. Which, if that happens and he does it, that's like huge because he's never done a TV show.
Ow.
Oh, and I just watched a Western with him the other day, the Old Way.
Oh yeah,
Is that-
from Saban.
Yeah.
Is that new one that
Yep.
just came out?
Yeah.
I've almost watched it a few times, but I'm like, I don't know.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's considered a Western, but it's kind of like most of the movie, the majority of the movie, almost all of the everything but the very beginning of the movie, it doesn't take place in like wild west times. It's like 20 years after.
Okay.
So it's called the Old Way because it's kind of like, getting back to the old way of being the West, the good old days.
Have you seen the trailer for Nick Cage's new movie called Sympathy for the Devil? It's coming out this year.
No.
Yeah, I think that's where they stole. Well, they didn't steal it, but they supposedly part of the Dead by Daylight. Have you heard of that game, Moser?
I only because I've seen like TikToks of like his voice acting in it.
Yeah, supposedly from the set of that one, he gets taken into that world. So they're helping advertise that movie.
Okay. Now, the movie looks bonkers, like most recent Nick Cage movies are. He's really leaning into the I am just a crazy person,
Yeah.
and I love it.
I watched his Ghostland, Prisoners of Ghostland.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. My wife did not like it, but I thought it was fun and enjoyable. It's a very it has like Western feel to it, but with a lot of old school martial arts type film.
Yeah, we did closed captioning for that movie at my job.
Did
a
you?
while back. Yeah.
So did you actually get to watch it, or is it
Not
pause and stop?
yeah, a lot of pause and stop and jumping around, but like
Yeah.
you get kind of a sense, but
Yeah.
it's not actually the same as watching, obviously.
Right. So you think he'll get his Superman movie done now? I mean, he is a big.
No.
Oh,
Unless he finances it himself, probably.
I mean, I would watch it,
I
but
totally would.
Yeah.
it's never gonna happen.
I see a lot of fan. So I've been looking for posters, like just fan made posters of that movie. I found a lot of bad ones, and some really bizarre fan film posters.
Yeah, like the one you sent me where he's all three of the Trinity.
Yeah, where he's like, they have Nick Cage on Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
I sent that, Mosier, I sent that to Ian. You remember my buddy John.
Yeah.
Because, he's a big Nick Cage fan. So he's like, how is it that his Superman is the worst one of the three?
Yeah, yeah.
He looks like a better Wonder Woman.
It was awkward to see, but yeah, it's I could not find a whole lot of cool ones, so I probably just gonna end up making my own. But I was surprised there were several like comic book covers made to be like, Tim Burton Superman graphic novel version or whatever.
Uh-huh.
They all turned out to be fake. I'm like, why haven't they done that? Like, just turn it into a comic.
I feel like it was just like one of those people are just now getting like nostalgic for that. I think up until he appeared in The Flash, no one really cared.
Well,
And then after they saw that, they're just like, because there's that one image that always goes around of Nick Cage in the suit.
There's a few now, but they did like a documentary in 2015 or 16 about the whole like
No.
thing
Yeah.
of it falling apart, and like who was cast, and like you're supposed to have like Brainiac was going to be played by Christopher Walken. I'm like, holy crap, who cast this shit? And Kevin Spacey was still Lex Luthor.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, I thought he did a good job, honestly. But
They
were you saying that they didn't do any Keaton comic covers? Or are you saying Nick Cage comic covers?
No, Nick Cage.
Okay.
No,
I was going to say, because
I
they
was
had the
surprised.
Keaton comic series they did for a while.
Yeah,
They have the 89 series. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Which was really good, I might add.
they
It
did
was.
89 Batman, but the fact that they just didn't never, someone just be like, hey, why don't we make this into just a graphic novel real quick, just to shut people up.
Yeah, there's a lot of missed opportunities with that, because I know for a long time they were talking about doing Raimi's Spider-Man 4 in comic form, but they just never did.
Have you ever heard Kevin Smith tell the story about how he got in like the process of trying to get Superman Lives made?
Yeah,
He has that whole like it's like a 15-minute story he tells at like a Q&A, and
yeah,
it's absolutely the story of it is so bonkers because like most of like the weirdness comes from John Peters, the producer, who was just like you can make it, but you has to you fight a giant spider in the third act.
yeah.
Mhm.
Which I was looking around, and a lot of the pictures I was finding from like a lot of them came from the documentary of the Death of Superman Lives or whatever it was. I don't remember what the documentary is called, but a lot of them images came from it, and a lot of it was like Brainiac on the spider body was like in these pictures and stuff. So I was like, okay, that makes more sense than just a giant random ass robot spider, which the guy ended up going and doing on Wild Wild West anyways.
Yeah.
The epic flop movie.
Yeah.
The Flash of its day.
Oh, was it that bad?
It was a pretty massive bomb at the time. Yeah.
Is Flash really that big of a bomb, or are people just like over exaggerating it?
No, they lost like
bad.
$250 million or something like that off of it.
Mm.
It's because they waited so dang long.
And there's a lot of reshoots, and
Yeah.
it was made during a lot of it was made during COVID time, and just the budget during that because of like safety protocols and stuff was just more, and there was no way it was ever going to make its money back.
Yeah.
Especially because like they released it after they've already like hired and pretty much have cast the entire new universe. So it's like even like the people who are big like Snyderverse people and like, oh, one more go with Ben Affleck. It's like no one cared anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone was out.
Batwoman would have been awesome, or Batgirl. Okay, so right now, Wild Wild West and The Flash are on par with each other, each getting 1.3 times their production budget back.
1.3 times back?
Yeah.
So they didn't lose money then?
No, right now it's got a positive of 67 million. But it cost 200 million. Flash.
Damn.
But if you're factoring in like marketing and other stuff too.
This doesn't list marketing.
Did they do a lot of marketing though? Because you didn't really see a lot after.
Oh yeah, they were sending the woman who plays Supergirl. They were sending her around everywhere talking about it because they wouldn't send Ezra.
Yeah,
and like even like all like the WB studios like heads were like, "This is the greatest movie I've ever seen." It's like okay.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they had Tom Cruise to say this is like the epic cinema that we need, and I was like, really, dude.
Even Stephen King liked it. I'm like, he was just like, I'm not usually a fan of superhero movies, but this one was really good.
I'll be honest, I had fun with the story, but I would have preferred Batgirl.
I didn't hate The Flash. I actually, what it was kind of fun. It was.
You can't really hate the story because it's the Flashpoint story. It's a great freaking story.
Yeah, but we already have a better version with that animated movie.
I know we do. So much better.
By the way, Wild Wild West made 221 million, so the Flash is only a little bit above that.
Yeah, but the Wild Wild West, how much did it cost to make?
It cost about 25 million less.
That's crazy that movie
for that
cost
time.
That much.
Yeah, 175 million.
That was
what 99 2000
99.
I'm guessing a large part of that budget went to Will Smith.
Probably.
Yeah, he had to have that money in his hand. Ready to get ready
that,
for
that. Was he was riding that like the Men in Black like superstardom.
Yeah, Men in Black, Independence Day.
Yeah,
the recent numbers are actually making people go back and reevaluate Black Adam. They think that the Rock star power may have actually earned it more money than they originally thought.
I didn't ever see Black Adam. It looked
it's a fun one, but it's
from the first trailer. I'm like, I don't like this already.
The best thing about Black Adam is every other character in it. That's not an exaggeration. Like I'm actually mad that we can't get stories about those characters.
I mean, you can eventually if they ever want to.
There'll be different versions. I want those characters.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan was good in it. He stole the movie, dude. Which he does in most movies he's in.
He's a very charismatic man. So
yeah. Actually, that was another movie I did watch. The Outlaws.
That new Adam Devine comedy one.
Yeah, that on Netflix, and Pierce Brosnan's in that, and again, he steals the freaking show, dude. He makes it worth it. They do a joke. Do you guys care?
I don't care.
Okay, they do a joke where like the guy's in a tuxedo, and the woman's like, "Oh, you look like James Bond," and he turns to her and he's like, "Which one?" And she's like, "The fifth one." He's like, "Ah, good. That was a good one." I was like, yes, finally we get a stupid James Bond joke with him.
Just so you know, I have the Facebook Live up, and I'm watching our. It's generating captions, and like it thought you were talking about the tuxedo, and it like censored the word "frickin'."
Does it censor cussing?
Yeah, it was just a bunch of asterisks.
I didn't fucking know that. There you go. Censor that shit.
There's a couple for you.
I'm trying to see it now. There you go. That
Yeah, there it
shit. They censor shit. Oh dang. That's awesome. Sweet. This is fun, man. I haven't done a live in a very long time.
I've never done one.
Really?
Hmm.
Oh, how about you, Mosher?
Um,
Well, you guys did live with the recordings before.
yeah, we did live streaming, but we weren't really like
On camera.
interacting
Yeah.
like this. I don't know if I've ever done like a Facebook live thing before.
Okay. So like I said when we started, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the world.
It showed up.
And what did you say?
I did a thumbs up.
Oh, I see right there. I got you. So one, I want to tell everybody, because I did this on our other show that we do, the Monster Cast, which you guys can find every Monster Monday. Have to plug it. We got to plug it all the time. You guys can go over to sign.moveon.org and sign a petition for Save Trauma on YouTube. They were unjustly taken off of YouTube, and a lot of independent artists actually lost a lot of their content for place. It's a place that only, certain artists, that's like literally where they could be seen. So go over there, sign that petition, and help those guys out. Hopefully YouTube hasn't completely erased their backlog so that those artists have their content still.
No.
It's a bad time for artists all around.
Oh yeah.
Well,
If you're in the arts, you're pretty much screwed right now.
Did you see that a lot of indie movie companies, though, are getting exemption from this strike? Well, A24 just got 2 movies exempt. They can use workers.
I saw something about that this morning, but I didn't read it because I saw something. It was like an Anne Hathaway movie or something like that. It was like greenlit to go from like the SAG.
I wonder if it's film, if it's movies that were already like, financed.
From what I heard, if they have nothing to do with the studios they're having problems with, basically. Because the movie I heard about is the Jenna Coleman and Paul Rudd Unicorn, where
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega, thank you. Jenna Coleman's Dr. Who.
Yeah, I was about to
they hit a unicorn with their car, and that's the premise of the movie. And I'm like, that's all I need to hear. I'm in.
Oh, is it like the unicorn store?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey get SAG strike waivers, so they're gonna do something. I don't know if it's together or separate projects, but
yeah, there's like 39 independent projects, which is A24 therefore not regulated through the unions?
I don't know. I'm assuming they are,
because they've become. I mean, we're an independent company, but they've become so big over the last few years. I mean, winning Oscars and everything. You would think. I'm curious about their business model for their talent, like how they do their contracts and stuff with them, if they're allowing them to continue during these strikes, because it's interesting. Do they? Because I know they were doing it. Like SNL wasn't even doing shows because of the writer's strike.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how.
But they're owned by NBC, who's a big studio. So
Right. So they're hitting up the studios like Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal, Paramount, shit like that.
Yeah.
Radio personalities.
Where A24 doesn't have like a streaming service to kind of fuck people over yet. Yeah. I'd say yet, because all these companies started out as little tiny independent companies at one point, and then they all grew into the giants they are now.
I don't know if that
happens.
It honestly seems like just a money sinkhole at this point. Is anyone honestly making money off streaming?
I don't think they are. I don't think any of the streaming services are doing well. I think Paramount Plus is doing terribly. I think even like Disney and Netflix, the granddaddy of them all, like none of them are like turning a profit.
Netflix just announced that they had I don't know if it's a profit, but they announced a boom in incoming money from their new password sharing bullshit, which is a great sign for the rest of them.
Well, of course it's going to be more money because a lot of people got kicked off of a shared account, and but I don't think it necessarily is going to be
long lasting,
a long term. It's going to be a spike, and it's going to level down. It's streaming right now is
sure that's working still, right?
That one does, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, streaming right now. I saw a video. Was it a video? Yeah, it was a video or an article that I was like, who's winning like the streaming wars? And they said Sony, because they don't have a streaming service, and they just sell all their stuff to all these studios for like insane money. So they're like, if you want Spider-Man, you're going to have to pay us like $1 kajillion. And then Disney shells out $1 kajillion, and Sony does really well.
Yeah.
And then they go and make like a shitty, like,
it's honestly a very smart move on their part, because they're not doing too well as a business.
No, that's what I mean. It's like they're the only company that's just like, yeah, we'll just sell our stuff to people. And
I mean, that's why there was like Netflix for just the longest time, because you know, the companies were selling it to Netflix to license it out and everything. But now they're all like, well, can't we make the same money? And it's like, Netflix, did they ever show you their numbers? Like, do you think they were making that much money? Like,
they don't show anybody their numbers. Like, that's a big part of the problem.
Yeah. Like, do you think Max made back the millions of dollars that they paid just for Friends?
No, and I think we're seeing examples of that because they're pulling stuff and selling it to other people. It's becoming that again, and I honestly think we're watching the bubble burst in front of us.
Well, yeah, because you have like Avatar 2 is on Max right now, and Disney Plus. I'm like, wait, what?
We have all this stuff people want to watch. Well, if we just have it, people will come to us.
Yeah.
Okay, but what else do you have for us to watch? Because I mean, Netflix, as much of I think it's a barren wasteland right now, it had a ton of stuff at the time that I was interested in.
Yeah. I get it.
And the whole, like, people will just binge watch like the new season of Stranger Things and then cancel. So it's like, even like the shows that a lot of people watch, like they'll watch it in like a weekend or whatever and then cancel. So it's like, it's very, there's not anything that's keeping people loyal to a. So it's not like in the day when you're like, oh, I'm loyal to a thing and I'm going to support that. I love what CBS has to put on a channel and I'm going to watch it. It's like, no, people are going to, if you're going to pay $10, $15, $20 a month for a service, you're going to have to have a lot of things on there that you're going to watch. And I think the problem that a lot of these streamers have is like, you know, the thing that made Netflix great is it had everything, and you could just be like, oh, I could watch all these movies and TV shows and whatever right here on this service for $15 a month. But now it's like all Disney gets pulled from everything, and now you have to do Disney. But like, if all you want to watch is The Mandalorian, you're probably not going to subscribe to Disney Plus, or you're just going to do a free trial, binge it, and then cancel.
Yeah,
that's our issue right now.
Iger. Well, I was going to say Iger says they're going to cut back on Star Wars and Marvel. I'm like, well, I mean,
we should cut back on Iger.
Kind of, So the only thing I'm really
tried to. He came back, man.
And, I mean, they got Doctor Who come November, but I can just as easily go to the Bay to watch that. That's not a big deal.
Dude, look at Bob Iger. He never should have come back because he left on a high note and everybody like loved him at a point. to where it was like awesome, cool. And then he comes back at like the worst point in history for the film industry.
And says some of the most ignorant shit you ever. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, he's actually a villain.
I'm so sad that Ron Perlman walked back what he said.
Did he though? I didn't see the whole video. I only saw like
he apologized for getting rather heated.
I think that's a good thing though to apologize about getting heated, because not to protect your own ass, but you don't want like kids to see that, you know, where you're threatening people, because you don't want kids to then go out and just say stupid shit on the street and threaten people. We already got enough of that in the world. So,
yeah, I think justifiable consequences for your actions, though, it's a different matter.
Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, like, you know, if
but
it's hard to say.
My argument is that what he said is no worse than what that anonymous executive said.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you're outraged that Ron Perlman inferred that he's going to burn some billionaire's house down, you should be equally as pissed off that some executive is like, we're going to keep this going until all these writers lose their houses and homes, and then we can give them a shit deal because they're desperate. I mean, it's the same thing, just the other side of the coin.
But we all know, first of all, Ron Perlman is not going to go and burn someone's house down. Liz from Hellboy will go and burn his house down. Yeah, no, the person who said that anonymously, it has to be the WB guy, right? Like the guy who
it reeks of Zaslav,
doesn't it? Like I told Timus that the other day. I was like, it has to be this dude. Like people say Bob Iger. I don't think Bob Iger would be stupid enough to say something like that.
No, not to a reporter. That's for
anybody. Like not to a reporter, maybe to his like billionaire buddies or whatever. Well, he's not even a billionaire. He's only a millionaire. So, yeah.
I mean, he only made what, $29 million last year.
Mm-hmm. He's still not, his net worth was only like 800 million or 600 million, I think it was.
Oh, only.
But I'm saying he's still not billionaire stats. Like freaking Tyler Perry is richer than that guy. Tyler Perry's a billionaire, so.
But he also like
Oprah is richer than that guy.
But they also own their own, like they created their own studios.
Yes.
Like they actually earned their money. I feel like because they built something from the ground up. Where all these new like media mogul assholes,
they're just taking
David
over
Zaslav,
someone else's shit.
Bob Iger, all these people are they're just buying things. They don't care about the art. They don't care about anything except the bottom line.
With Disney though, it's hard because it's a public company. And one, Bob Iger is just the CEO. He doesn't own the freaking company.
No,
I think
he's got shareholders he's got to answer to.
Yeah, there's lots of shareholders. There's lots of chairmen.
So it's them we have to go after.
It's not like everyone looks at it as, I think a lot of people forget that CEO does not mean owner of the company. It's not like he's Vince McMahon and is in charge of everything and doesn't.
Well, not even that doesn't work anymore. He's not in charge. He doesn't own it.
Been sold out. Yes, finally, thank God.
No, not finally, because now he's in a cushy position that no one's gonna get rid of him.
And no, they don't own it, but they are still responsible for shepherding the brand.
I look at the CEOs of companies like the president. They're the face of it. They get to like mark some stuff and say yes or no to some things here and there, but ultimately they don't have as much power as the people behind them.
I don't 100% agree with that, but
I could see the comparing lobbyists to shareholders.
It's an easy comparison.
There's
some of them are probably the same.
On Max, there's actually a really cool documentary. It's like a four-part documentary about like the 100-year history of Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
and it's really good. Apart from Zaslav inserting himself in there, and I'm
Of course.
he appears a few times, and I'm just like it just reeks of like ego.
That
But
reminds going back to Vince McMahon. That reminds me of their documentaries that they do, where they did the Ruthless era after, the WWF and WCW they merged, and it's like he had a great idea to rebrand from WWF. I'm like, no, you didn't. You got sued by a wildlife preservation.
Oh yeah.
They'll do anything to make themselves look better. But we supported one of Zaslav's products the other night. Or yesterday actually. We watched the Barbie Dreamhouse Challenge.
That's his. How's that his product?
It's a Discovery show. HGTV.
Is it? I mean, I have Mac, so I don't give a. Clearly, I don't give a fuck.
I mean, I have it too. I've actually thought about like canceling Max and stuff, but
I might have to.
Yeah.
But it is. There is still stuff on there, and like what like Neil Gaiman has said is like still watch the stuff, still support the artist, because if everyone stops watching it, then they're gonna see that as like, see, it's nobody's watching it, and then it's leverage that like we're like the creators aren't as worth. So he's like watch with like great fervor, like just watch everything, support your artists, support your local theater. And that's where I'm at with it, where it's like I don't want to give a penny to David Zaslav, but if I don't, then some of those creators are gonna hurt for it.
Yeah.
So
right.
It's like the whole Snyder boys still trying to boycott WB.
yeah, they have definitely lost their fangs a little bit. They're in just like in every Facebook comic section about anything to do with like the James Gunn like restore the Snyderverse. Shut the hell up.
It's funny too, like the whole James Gunn thing.
Barbie.
Barbie's gonna be an awesome freaking movie. Oh, I bet you, I guarantee you, it's gonna be so good, dude.
It looks amazing, honestly.
Like,
honest to God, it looks really good.
It's gonna be so amazing. It's gonna be a great film, and people are going to sleep on it. Watch this. I
don't think so.
it.
Like pre-sale tickets, it's outperforming Oppenheimer.
Yeah, they're predicting that Barbie is going to be like at 110 million or something like that.
Ooh.
Like it's predicted to be a pretty successful like opening, like 5 days or whatever for that.
I'm just worried that if people are getting the tickets to take their kids and it turns out to not be such a kid-friendly movie, that parents are going to flip the script on it real fast.
What's it rated? Is it PG-13?
I think it's 13.
I think it's PG-13.
Yeah. So that's good. You should kind of expect that, though. It's like you go see Shrek. There's going to be jokes for adults.
Yeah, but people freaking went and saw Deadpool.
Well, that's just parents not doing their job.
And then bitch that Deadpool was rated R. I'm like, you paid for the ticket on a movie that clearly states it's rated R. We shouldn't have to tell you the second you walk in, hey, your movie's rated R.
And
you do a little work.
And within like 15 seconds of the start of that movie that, oh, this is going to be not for kids. It doesn't ease into it.
Oh, yeah. No, and the people that were bitching were taking like little kids. Like, they're like, oh, we thought it was a superhero. He looked like Spider-Man. I'm like,
well, he is a superhero, but not every superheroes are for children.
He's an anti-hero, isn't he?
He's kind of his own thing.
He's kind of like whatever. He does.
Yeah, he's a villain a lot. He's a mercenary. He'll pay whoever pays him. He doesn't care what the job is. But is that studio that's I'm forgetting their name, but the people doing Five Nights, are they affected by all this?
That movie's done and over with.
No, I'm talking about the studio though.
I'm guessing there are
a ton of horror.
There are not many studios who are making anything.
because I didn't think they were that big, but they have made a lot of big movies.
Because even if the studio might not shut down, but like the writers aren't writing, and
Yeah.
so like
Paranormal Activity and the
Blumhouse.
Blumhouse,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking of. Yeah. I mean, Blumhouse has been around for like 20 some years. So I don't know if they're affected by it or not, though, because they're not like a real like massive thing, but they're also, some people want to say they're an art house production company, but they're not really art house. I wouldn't say.
I think there was a time when they were leaning that direction, and then they went more for like the cash grab, like
horror
summer horror movie,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's not necessarily like Midsummer,
Yeah.
but it's
Midsommar.
but they did like Get Out and stuff like that. So
They did the Invisible Man one. They did that one. That was
yeah,
good.
they did Invisible Man. So they've done stuff that's verging on like the art house horror, like the quote unquote elevated horror, even though I hate that term. But
I've never heard of that term.
It looks like they are owned and distributed by Universal. So yes, they are
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
on the chopping block right now.
Why haven't they done a Monsters?
But they did the Black Phone this past year, right?
oh
Yeah, that was at
That-
Universal Halloween last year.
We watched that. That was good. I enjoyed that film.
I liked it okay, but it felt at times like they were trying to be the Stranger Things of like it was a little bit too much of like the 80s kids,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it had to be set in that time because now we have all cell phones and cameras everywhere.
It's not the setting of the time that bothered me. It's the way
How
they
the kids act.
Yeah, it just felt very like we need to cash in on the Stranger Things vibe, because everything with kids has to be like Stranger Things ish.
I'm on the not the opposite end, but on a different perspective. I thought they were trying to cash in more on the whole the how the world is just going crazy right now for like serial killer content. Because the character that Ethan Hawke, right? Yeah. Ethan Hawke plays is like,
he was great in it too.
Yes, he was. But his like persona he gave off and all the little things he did are things that they constantly are like talking about serial killers with, and the way that he was set up, it looked like, honestly, it looked like they were missing scenes because they set up stuff for him, but then you're like, are they going to talk about that again? Because it's like he has these issues and all these other things, and I kind of wanted to see more of the psychology of that.
And there were some things that just did not make sense in it, and it like at the end, like he busts open a wall with like the toilet tank lid, and then he was like, "Oh, I need something to hit this guy with," and he packs a phone full of sand. I'm like,
just use the toilet.
Use the toilet lid that you just used to bust a wall down. It made no sense.
So what made no sense, and I guarantee Tivis is never gonna watch this movie, so I don't care.
No, I can tell you the trailer made no sense to me. I couldn't tell if the ghost children were evil or not.
Really made no sense, and I said something to Nick about it when we were watching. I was like, bro, that lid is porcelain. He's hitting it on a concrete wall. That's gonna bust in like 2 seconds. It's a porcelain lid, that's gonna shatter, dude. I've broken those things so easily.
Yeah, but the fact that they show that, like him using that like a heavy blunt object,
just showing it,
and then they like what can we have him beat this guy to death with? Oh, I know, a rotary phone packed with sand. What?
Yes, it was kind of like they were like, we need to get rid of the phone, so can you do something with it?
It was that part, like I got to that and I'm like, this is really annoying.
Yeah,
But I mean, the movie was enjoyable. I liked it. Ethan Hawke was very good. I think there was some decent scares in it. I think the story was pretty good.
I didn't
But
think there was any scares in it, really. I just thought that like the acting was pretty good from Ethan Hawke and the kid. I don't know who the kid was.
I guess scares is the wrong word, but like tension. You know, like there's the scene where he's trying to get out of like the padlocked front door, and like the dude's sleeping, and he's trying to get out without like waking him. There's some good tense moments.
Yeah.
I heard that the Horror Nights exhibit last year was fun.
Is that what they based it off of? Last year?
The phone thing,
Black Phone, yeah. Okay.
That was one of the 2 movie themes they had last year, and this year I think they're doing. What was it? Is it Stranger Things?
Probably. They need to keep it going because we're never going to get that last final season, especially with the things going on right now, which we're going to dive into, the strikes.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about Transformers finally.
I didn't watch that yet.
I don't want
Whose
to
fault
watch
is
it.
that? Oh, I liked it.
Hey, he said the line, everybody.
It continues Bumblebee, which is like the only good movie.
I didn't see Bumblebee either.
Oh, that's a good one.
I stopped watching Transformers movies after Dark of the Moon. I was like, that was.
Oh, that's
enough.
the worst one.
Yeah.
Was that like the
second
one?
That was the first one without Shia LaBeouf. That was the third one.
Fourth one. Shia LaBeouf did 3.
Did he do
Dark of the Moon was the second movie with Shia LaBeouf.
No, that's Revenge of the Fallen.
Oh, you're right.
Which
Dark
is also
was the Dark Side of the Moon. That one had Leonard Nimoy in it, right? He reprised his role.
That was Revenge of the Fallen.
Okay, so that was number 3.
Dark of the Moon was like the one that had
the Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon was the third one. Yeah. Age of Extinction was the first one without Shia LaBeouf.
Okay.
Oh, that was the first one without Megan Fox in it.
I was gonna say Megan Fox dropped off that one.
Yeah, Dark of the Moon's the one with Leonard Nimoy. Yeah.
And it also has Terry Tate off his linebacker not doing his iconic woo. What's up with that?
I don't know.
It had Dr. McDreamy.
I never had any real connection with the Transformers as a franchise in general. The only thing that I ever watched as a kid was Beast Wars.
Same.
I
never care less for the G1s.
I never watched the original show. I've never seen the original movie, like the animated movie, I should say.
I have seen that. I'm not seeing any of the show before it. I
never had the toys or anything when I was a kid, except for like Happy Meal versions, maybe.
See, I had a lot of the Beast War toys.
So so when I was watching the franchise, it was literally because like they were like the big thing at the time, and I quickly was like, I don't care enough to continue. It's kind of how I felt about the Fast and the Furious franchise too, where it's just like after a certain point, I'm just like, why am I going to these?
I still need to see X or 10. Sorry.
I felt that way after I couldn't tell the first 2 movies apart.
Oh, that's funny. First 2, you couldn't tell the first 2. Vince Diesel's not even in the second one, you asshole.
I thought he's not in the third.
He's not in the second.
He's in the third at the very end. He's not in the second one. The second one is just.
I may never seen the second one.
The second one is weird.
The second one is. Yeah, that's Tyrese Gibson's first movie.
Yeah.
And Ludacris. That's when we get Ludacris to show up and take the place of murder guy. I forget his name, but Eminem like destroyed him, so that's why I can't remember his name.
My wife saw him the other night.
Who? Eminem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She went to that Ed Sheeran concert.
Nice. Oops. Don't want to do that. In Detroit, right?
Yeah.
That's where he showed up. Nice. So
all right, let's get into this. I know you want to.
Let's dive into this.
I will say I loved the Beast Wars movie.
I love all the Fast and Furious movies, and I haven't even seen 10 yet, and I still love it. I have the cup. See,
That's gonna be out of theaters soon.
I know I'm waiting until I can watch it at home. I just didn't get a chance.
Yeah, we kind of gave up on Guardians 3 at this point. I'm like, in 2 weeks we're gonna.
Guardians 3 needs to be seen in theaters at least one time.
Don't have the time.
Make it.
There's no making.
You could
If you
have
have time, if you have time to watch it at home, you have time to go to a theater to watch it.
If you have time to
It's the same-
podcast,
It's the same length of time.
No, because you also include half an hour of previews, waiting in line to get the ticket, waiting in line to get food.
How long are the lines of the theater you're going to? Because I walk right up to the counter.
I wasn't going to be that mean, but not very.
We live in the same city, and I can tell you.
We usually go to Fallen Timbers because I don't
same.
trust Franklin Park after 2 bed bugs incidences in a row.
dude.
I only go to Franklin Park when they have because Franklin Park sometimes has like the lower budget movies that have like more limited releases. And Franklin Park screens those, and I'll go there if they're the only ones showing something I want to see.
Okay.
You think we've postponed Myke long enough?
Nah, dude, I'm fine. You want to talk about Fast and Furious? Because I'll do that.
Nah, I'm good.
Back to Beast Wars.
Dude, they went into space, bro. They went into space in 9. Oh, anyways. There's 10 of them to this.
Damn it, there's only 7 Transformers.
What's stupid is the 11th one's going to be called 10-2.
And then there's a movie set in between them.
like as in 10. Never mind.
They should do that. T.O.
Yes, like 10-2. Myke, I get your joke.
Not my joke, it's their joke. I don't know why they didn't call it Fasten. Like
Fast 10.
Fasten your
Yeah,
seatbelt.
fast.
like fasten your seatbelt. Like Fast 10 your seatbelt.
I mean, their naming scheme is already just pure chaos. So it's like whatever they could call it anything.
Well, you had Fast and Furious, and you had the Fast and Furious. Like they just put the in the name.
And Too Fast, Too Furious, and then
and
then they had
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Then they have Fast 7 and like Furious 8 or whatever. It's like
you had Fast 5. Ooh, geez. Now I'm forgetting the names of them. Oh man. Movies in order. So you had
Big fan, huh?
Turbocharged. Fast and Furious 6 was just called Fast and Furious 6. That's the first one where we get this awesome like TV intro at the beginning. It looks like an intro to a TV show. It's so stupid. Then you have Furious 7 and then Fate of the Furious, which was probably the better titles of any of them that they did.
it was still a stupid pun of 8 though. I hated that. It's like when movies like substitute the letter 4 for
all
an
I'm
A.
hearing is you hate family, okay? That's all I
I hate that family.
Much like studio executives.
The Mission Impossible movies are like what the Fast and the Furious movies wish they would be.
No, dude. I think the Fast and Furious movies are like the perfect culmination of what action movies should be like, you know?
I think they're all terrible. Go watch Once and Always.
I don't have my cricket noise sound up. Oh man. All right, so let's dive into the strike bullshit. First the writers went on strike, of course. It's been a minute since we've done an episode of Operation Babble, so we've just kind of like haven't done any of this talk. Writers went on strike. What did you guys think about the writers going on strike, first of all?
Good for them.
Good for them.
Kick their ass.
Fight for your money.
And a lot of them are fighting because they're not getting residual pay.
AI protections.
protection from the AI. They're not getting money because of streaming services, which just came up, and then no one ever. I don't understand why no one ever just decided to, have it written in their contracts for streaming services as they saw the dawn of streaming coming to light.
I don't think they could.
You don't think so, for real?
I don't think they could. Because it was just kind of like the wild, wild west. I mean, it was just like, like there was this big loophole for the studios where it's like, we can keep their contracts the same, but this way we don't have to pay them because it doesn't function the same way as like actual TV.
Right.
So
and not only that,
that's the reason Netflix doesn't provide numbers, by the way, is because if they let people know how many views something's getting, that means that they have to pay people what they're worth. So that's why they don't tell you how many streams something gets.
Yeah.
Because they're evil.
Yeah, I think that's going to change when this is all done too.
We'll see. Or the studios just don't back down and then they just use AI anyways. Say fuck it.
Good luck. That fucking intro to Secret Invasion is horrendous.
Are you watching Secret Invasion at all?
I honestly forgot it existed.
So they do an intro.
The
whole
I was
intro
complaining
is
about it before I even
AI
knew.
art. It's AI based art and it looks horrible, and it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is AI as it is right now is not good enough at anything,
especially
to actually be used to replace anything.
That's not true. So the AI programs that we as normal based people use is not that great, and a lot of people don't even know how to use it properly. There are programs out there that are doing this stuff better, and it looks, sad to say, it looks good.
Like that video you sent me from YouTube that was horrifying of Harry Potter.
Oh, that was just funny.
They were soulless, dude.
But like I just saw an article that I thought was really funny that Nicholas Winding Refn, the director of Drive.
That's a mouthful.
He directed Drive, Only God Forgives, Neon Demon, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to write a script using AI, and the AI told him to seek professional help. And I thought that was very funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's one thing. Like I've been seeing it on like different sites and stuff too. Like people are using AI software to write everything. It's not just like you got the stupid memes of the kids using it to do their reports at school, but people are doing it for everything in businesses everywhere, and it's worrisome. And now there are people who are taking advantage and being like, "Hey, I'll rewrite your AI stuff so it sounds like a human wrote it." Like there's like editors going through and like taking advantage of doing the editing and being like, "Hey, we'll edit this shit for you so it sounds like a human wrote it, like it came from an actual soul,
like
not
that
a soulless creature."
Yeah, even then it doesn't sound right. But
you have to
unless you make edits to it. But
yeah.
Did you hear about the kid who got expelled because he copied ChatGPT report that thing made, including the disclaimer that it was written by ChatGPT?
That's stupid.
Yeah, he wrote everything word for word.
And another thing that's gonna come into play in all of this that not a lot of people are talking about yet, is the fact that AI takes from intellectual property. So there's gonna come into a point where a lawsuit.
They're already
there's
doing
already
it with
some
music
out there,
and stuff.
Lawsuits are gonna come rolling in when they start using this more because it's scraping and stealing intellectual property.
Images.
Yeah.
Copyrighted images. They're like if you write a script with it, it's not just generating a script. It's taking like you'd be like, I want a script like John Wick. It's gonna take stuff from John Wick and not credit.
Yeah, that's how we got The Force Awakens. AI wrote it.
I wish we could use that excuse.
But so it's like there's going to be lawsuits, and I don't think it's ever going to get to the point where it's going to get too expensive to even do AI, because you're going to have to pay a lot of people.
Well, they were showing things. I watched this video, and this guy was showing, like, there's a lot in-depth AI videos and shit out there, and this guy was showing you how you can literally write a movie script based on like just a few key things. You say, I want a movie script written by the same people who wrote so and so movie. I want it to look and feel like this decade, but I also want it to like go through, like, you know, all these different, like, make it for modern times, basically. It's what they're saying. Like, take the Goonies and mix it with, like, you know, the Three Ninjas, and then make it for modern times, and then you get like a group of kids on the adventure fighting and all that stuff. And
I saw a video.
Crazy.
I saw a video. I think it was on TikTok. This lady was on some like daytime talk show type thing, talking about AI, and she was just like gleefully like, yeah, the future is going to be, you can just go home and be like, you know, I feel like watching a rom-com starring Meryl Streep, and you can just plug that into like an AI, and it like generates that movie for you. And I'm like, that sounds like a hellscape.
Oh, real quick, speaking of AI, Alexa, turn Office off. Thank you.
I will say not all AI are bad, because there are a lot of tools out there that have helped in a lot of ways, and even some of the minor stuff that's just for fun, like the president's playing video games, or that weird Uncanny Valley Simpsons ripoff that keeps appearing on Twitch.
Like,
it's kind of interesting, but it shouldn't, like,
so
there's no way people should be paid for one day's work and then their likeness gets to be used forever. That's just,
can I
no one should
pose this? Can I pose this question though, real quick? So a lot of people's concerns that I always keep hearing is, you know, AI can steal my content and rewrite this thing and take from this thing and all these things. But where do we see the difference then in films if an AI robot wrote it, or if an actual human wrote it? Because if you look at this landscape of films and stuff like that, a lot of things that we're getting right now, well, not a lot of things, I should say, from the major studios that we end up getting is just rehashed bullshit anyways. They're
or sometimes accidentally the same story in the case of Captain Marvel and X-Men Phoenix.
No, Captain Marvel.
It's not.
They had to rewrite the end of Phoenix because it was the exact same sequence where she went into space and blew up a bunch of aliens who
Captain
looked just like
Marvel
Skrulls.
is the same movie as Long Kiss Goodnight. First of all,
I don't know that movie
with fucking Sam Jackson at the same time. If you watch both of those movies, you got a girl who doesn't know what is going on. She has superpowers. She doesn't remember everything.
One of those came out after the other. These were both being made at the same time by different people.
Well, yeah, you have that all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
You had like Deep Impact and Armageddon came out at the same time. You had movies all the time do that. It wasn't necessarily, it was like the studio probably got wind of it and they're like, hey, what script do we have in this pile that's just like that so we can make it real quick?
Yeah, except they went, oh shit, it's just like that movie. We have to change it.
Yeah. But anyways, my question is basically like, what's the difference of AI doing it versus a human doing it? They're just copying someone else's stuff.
Artistry.
Yeah, but again, they're still stealing from somebody else.
It's
the
not
human being.
It's not steal. Like
it's not stealing if they say homage.
Like what Tarantino does isn't stealing. Like
he's not telling the same stories. He's taking styles.
But he also takes like direct like actions from movies. You know, like the famous like twist dance in Pulp Fiction was taken directly from 8.5, and there's a lot of sequence he does that are from other movies. Same with Stanley Kubrick, like the scene of Jack Nicholson chopping down the door. The Here's Johnny scene is taken from Phantom Carriage.
Well, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy just did it. They used the same. It's just
Do I have to take my headphones off?
It's
No.
your fault for not seeing it. It's been out for like 3 months.
They did the same thing with the color of the suits. They're from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a difference between like doing things with artistry and just straight up stealing something.
Yeah, no, I was just posing the question. I don't disagree with you. I just have to be that guy who asks the question
It's a
because
legit,
people are
yeah,
gonna
it's an
ask
argument.
that question. People are going to say, "Well, you know, what was this Star Wars movie? The first one of the new trilogy? What was that called?
Force Awakens, that was basically A New Hope.
Yeah, it was basically A New Hope." So, and people are being like, "Well, it's literally almost beat for beat A New Hope." So I'm like, "Yeah, I could see that," and that's why I think AI wrote it. Oh,
That's different than Rise of Skywalker.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah, no, I had to ask that question because I wanted a legit, like, you know, someone to say something like that. It was good. I agree with you, dude. No, there's the artistry behind it. And a lot of good directors know how to change it. It's the styles that they bring to the table. They know what looks good and they want to take from different things all the time.
There is like creative decisions that go into like, what does a shot like this mean? What is it like implying? An AI can't discern that. An AI can't direct because an AI isn't human. So an AI, I don't think they'll ever get to directing.
Hopefully.
Because I think there's
They
too
could probably
much,
executive produce.
there's too much involved in understanding emotion. There's too much of like, I need this and this out of something because that an AI doesn't understand.
Can I say it's very funny too that we have these chats going on about the actors and the stories, the scripts, the script writers and everything too, about how, you know, AI is not going to be able to do this. And it's very funny that Disney of all people made fun of this already with She-Hulk.
Yeah.
In the final episode, they're like, "Oh, is there AI things?" And we put them together. She's like, "No, this is stupid. Like, this isn't how this should go. This isn't like human nature. This isn't, you know, all this other bullshit." And it's funny of all places that Disney has actually criticized themselves or the situation that these people are fighting against, and then Disney's like, "No, fuck you." Like, you guys can't. You're taking away. They put it in their art and then say, "Fuck it, we don't care."
And I just find all of it really disrespectful to art in general, because there was, if you remember, a couple of years ago, they announced that they were going to do a James Dean movie.
Yeah, I remember that.
Where they were going to like use that like deep fake technology and do a new movie starring James Dean, and everyone was like just absolutely shat on this movie to the point where they had to cancel it just because it was so negatively received. And it raises the question of like, just because something looks like James Dean, that's not all James Dean was. He was a person who made decisions, who had artistic choices. He had like, but if you're just programming,
he wrote Big Bad John.
If you're programming a animation that just looks like James Dean, you can't say that this is a James Dean movie.
Right. No, it's going to be whatever that the actor doing the actual acting is, and then they're just tossing his freaking face over it.
And but they're like, they were like parading it around as like, oh, a new James Dean movie. And it's like, it's not, because James Dean has nothing to do with it other than you're using a thing that looks like him.
And how should we do, like, because you brought it up, I'll bring it up too, especially because the Flash just did it. Like, we had the other actor playing the other version of Ezra Miller, and then they just deep faked his face for Ezra's face on him.
But it's still his performance, though.
only his facial performance. Only Ezra's facial performance. The other guy did all
they
the
didn't do a
physical
body
stuff.
swap.
No, they didn't do swapping. Like he had like a legit guy that was doing the stuff in the suit and all this other stuff. So they switched the face. Like they showed like behind the scenes imagery and stuff of it.
I think
So-
that is different though, because
No,
it
I
is involving him.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting into that part. I'm wondering where do we start to actually credit those people and should
exactly.
they get residuals and stuff on it, because it's their literal performance and then you just CG'd over them, kind of like when they did The Social Network and you had Army Hammer. Yeah, was it him? Yeah, Army Hammer. He played the twins, but he only played one of them, and then the other guy was there. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, and so it's like it there's a lot of blurriness to all of this, and it's getting to the point of like what is considered a performance, like what is considered like,
because what sells it? What are we saying that sells the performance? Is it the facial structure or the facial reactions, or is it the actual full body movement of the character? Because there's a lot of times where I'll watch a movie and if the character isn't doing anything with their body language, but they have the facial remarks, I'm like, you're not really selling it to me, dude. You kind of need both.
Yeah,
unless you're paralyzed, and then you're
but it's a slippery slope, and I think that stripping away artistic choice, like to be like, oh, we can just create a performance with animation and say this is Meryl Streep. Like, no, you can't.
No.
Like, just because you have an AI that sounds like James Earl Jones doing Darth Vader, that is not necessary. That's not James Earl Jones. It's a thing that you programmed to sound like James Earl Jones. So you can't say that is James Earl Jones anymore.
Right.
And it's interesting because he gave away his voice before all of this started happening. So is he going to miss out on stuff now, or did he?
I'm sure he got like a fat check for that.
Yeah, and he is up there in age, so he's probably not that concerned.
No, I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to do it anymore, and so he did that so they could still do it if they needed him to, but he doesn't actually have to come in and record lines because he's like 90 something years old. He doesn't want to do more Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
It's
but I just it's a weird time, and I hate that we have to like discuss this stuff because it's
I think the discussion is good for us, especially as me and you Mosier are in the industry in ways, and it's something that we should be able to discuss because it affects us in the future, and honestly affects all three of us, you too, Tivis included, as someone who watches content and takes the content in. It affects everybody. If even just like on the writing aspect of it, it will affect us because we won't have that soul, I guess, within your movies. And there's lots of movies you could say go out there and be like, oh, that's whoever wrote that was a dumbass. But at least they had a soul when they wrote that dumbass movie. Like you can't really go and what are you gonna do if AI is writing your scripts? They won't have anyone to blame. You can't. If your movie flops, it's your own.
You blame the person who's putting the prompts in the AI.
Yeah, that's the only way you could do it. Is just blame whoever's programming the AI.
And what does it do for like best screenplay Oscars and stuff like that? What is that? Like
whatever program they used.
Yeah, it's like congratulations to ChatGPT, another one. Way to go!
And can we talk about the misuse of scabs recently as well?
What do you mean?
Well, you know how they had the haunted mansion premiere just after the strike started. So they replaced the red carpet with Disney people in costume. People were calling these people scabs. I'm like, no, their literal job is just to be in the costume doing whatever Disney tells them to do. That's not a scab. That's the wrong definition of a scab.
Well, was this
And
right
if
after
you're
the
Disney-
writer strike?
It's after the actor strike. It was like last
So
Saturday.
those guys aren't necessarily SAG.
They aren't.
No, that's what I'm saying.
There may be people who are working towards it, but they aren't necessarily. They're Disney employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're employees on a different level. They're not out there acting for within the Screen Actors Guild or anything like that. So that has nothing to. Whoever said that's a dumbass.
I think the more interesting aspect of scabbing that we didn't have the last time we had a strike is the influencers, like on TikTok.
That's going to be
YouTube.
the big one because they're calling them in to do advertising now.
Yeah, because they can't have actors or the directors or anything like talk about advertise the movies. Otherwise, they are scabs and they lose their SAG or WGA credentials.
Yeah.
They're trying to get like Straw Hat Goofy and movie influencers like that to be like, yeah, we can still do that. And then the SAG actually came out with guidelines specifically for influencers because there was no groundwork for it. And like people who talked about movies and reviewed movies like on YouTube and TikTok, they're like, we don't know what to do. Like they don't want to strike to scab, but they don't know what's considered scabbing. So and pretty much is like they can't take on new contracts now, but they can still, if they're under contract to advertise for something already, they can still do those marketing campaigns because they're already under contract, but they can't take any new, otherwise it's considered scab.
So, and there's also a lot of different things now because of the world we're in, where those, there are actors out there. Let's disregard the big actors, the big names, like your George Clooney's and all that shit. Like the people who actually like can sustain themselves throughout this strike. There are hundreds, thousands of actors out there in SAG who can't necessarily sustain themselves for that long.
I'll add to that and say most. 99% of SAG are people who are making below what it is to get health insurance.
Yeah. Yes.
Quinn here in our chat is talking about, how is this going to affect nominations for stuff as well?
Yeah. We don't know really yet. I mean, I brought it up kind of like in jest, where like, what does it mean for a best screenplay Oscar? Like if an AI wrote a screenplay, what does that mean for that? Like, I don't know.
Right.
I hope I never find out.
That would not be a fun time. So it's his cats attacking him.
She's sitting on my D&D miniatures.
But no, yeah, like I was saying, like there are, like you said too, less than probably about 75% of actors out there that are SAG are not those people who are making the big bucks, who can afford to do everything. And a lot of people don't understand that even like the people that are in big movies and stuff doesn't necessarily mean they can sustain themselves for months without.
There's been a lot of like there was an actress who was in Orange is the New Black, who was very vocal about, like, she was in like most of the show, like she was in like 3 or 4 seasons of the show. She was in like 50 episodes or something like that, and she said like while she's famous, like she walks outside, people know who she is, and she has to like wait tables at night because she can't afford to live, and she's on one of the biggest shows in the world at the time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And so it's just because you're on a big show or you're in the new Mission Impossible movie. Cool. You're probably getting paid absolute shit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What is
and
Jaina Smiting? I don't know. She was in she played Bev in Reservation Dogs. She just like showed that she made 3 cents from that show. And then she was also in Rutherford Falls, and she made $33.
Yeah.
From just that show streaming.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these people, it sounds like they're making good money because they're like, like they'll be like, wow, you got paid $7,000 to do like a month of work or whatever. And they're like, that's a lot of money. I wish I made $7,000 that much.
But what the thing is they're going to get another job in a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that could be their one job of the year, and they made $7,000. And out of that $7,000, you have to pay your managers and your like agents and your rent.
And if you're SAG, you have to pay in the union dues.
Yeah,
and
so like of that $7,000 that these people made, they might take home 1,000 of it, say whatever, it's a very small fraction of it. So like, and this is what this is all about. It's not a lot of the people I've seen criticize it are like, oh, these whiny rich people wanting more money. It's like the deals that they make are going to have very little to do with like the Jennifer Lawrences, the Margot Robbies, like this not have anything to do. They stand in solidarity with these people, but they're not going to be affected by the decision one way or the other.
Right. And that's the big thing is like so many people don't realize, like, do they not remember the stories of freaking actors talking about living in their cars, working as, restaurant personnel. I don't know what we could servers, or kitchen staff or anything, just so that they had enough income to pay for rent, so that they could live there, so that they could go and try and get into the movies.
What is
like
it?
Stallone lived in his car when he fucking wrote Rocky.
What is the average person that someone in the studio or the industry makes is like less than how much it takes to live in an apartment for a year in LA?
Yeah. I mean, again, they keep throwing out these numbers, and people are like, that sounds pretty good. Like there's the average writer makes about like $69,000 or something a year, and it's like, that sounds really good, except if you're only working 3 months out of the year. Because these contracts used to be for a year, because like if you're writing on, say, Seinfeld or 24 or any of these shows that the way they used to be, where it's like 25 episodes a year. Or more.
Well, like Seinfeld's not worrying about the strike income.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, the way that these shows used to be is like a writer on that show. If you're in like a writer's room for Seinfeld, because it's not just Seinfeld and Larry David, like they had other writers. Like if you're on a staff, you're good for like a year, and then when you have downtime, it's like, okay, I know I'll be back. Probably at Seinfeld show or something else, and I'll have another 25 weeks. But now seasons of TV shows are like 8 episodes, 10 episodes. So it's like if you're if you're writing for Game of Thrones, you could be like, oh, I wrote an episode of Game of Thrones, but that could be it for a year, and you have like 3 months of work. And then you're unemployed, and you don't know when your next gig's going to come. And so it's like, this is what we have to shift, because everyone, like, streaming took over, but we're still treating it like TV. And TV, it doesn't function that way anymore. No. And so what these people are asking, no matter what Bob Iger says, is not unreasonable. They're just saying, like, adjust to the times. Pay us the residuals for these streaming shows, And they're just like, no, because they didn't have to do it before because streaming wasn't a part of the thing. But now you have to take into account
And
the same things.
What is it? I was just listening to Fran's speech about that. You know, in the last decade, the industry has changed so much, and the contract hasn't changed to reflect that.
And real quick, Quinn, we'll get to your question here in a second. But we want to continue this conversation real quick. So, like I was brought it up anyways, because there are, like I said, there's so many outlets nowadays, like social media, things like that, that some of these actors who aren't necessarily mainstream actors, high paid actors, can at least still go out and do some kind of thing. Like we have cons for a lot of the people we see at cons are some of those same actors who are not the high paid actors, you know. And them asking $100 to take a photo with them,
that helps pay their rent.
Yeah, that helps pay their rent. That puts food on the table for them, you know, because they're not doing anything. If they're at the con, they're clearly not shooting a movie or anything else. So
when I went to the Motor City Comic Con in Detroit a couple of years ago, when I met got my picture taken with Matthew Lillard, and I went to the panel of like the Scream cast reunion. It had Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard and Jamie Kennedy there talking. Skeet Ulrich was pretty upfront about that. He was like this helps me make ends meet.
Yeah.
Like he was like he was pretty upfront about like, you know, like he likes doing it, but you know, it's like this helps me like pay my rent and let me like live and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think Matthew Lillard even said it in a stage, like he you know, these are the actors who are like the ones that fans should really be. Not that you shouldn't support every artist, whatever, but these are the ones that really show that they appreciate all of the support that the fans give them, because you're coming out, you're seeing them, you're putting food on the table for them, you're helping them live on, and not just during a fucking strike, like in general. Like that's how they make a lot of money, so that they can afford to feed their kids and, you know, whatever. And it's an awesome time, I guess, for this strike to be happening for people like that. Even the writers can go out to these cons and people get autographs and stuff with the writers, like they do, like comic artists and stuff like that. That's another thing, is the writers can actually still go on, and if they're comic writers, they can continue writing comics.
Oh yeah, like that girl who played Miss Marvel. She's writing a comic right now.
Yeah. So there are many outlets now, thankfully, for a lot of these other actors to be continuing, and writers continuing to make income during this time. So hopefully that helps them during this period of time, because I would hate to see so many of them just fall off, you know, just because of this strike that is supposed to help them, you know. I don't want to see anybody lose their house or jobs or anything like that over, you know, the pettiness of so many people out in the world. And it's not even like the film industry in general. Like there's lots of companies that need this shit to happen because no one is getting paid properly anywhere.
I mean, like you see that with like UPS probably about to strike, you know. There's other things that are, these dominoes are going to start tumbling all over.
Don't say nothing, Tibbs. Just keep your mouth closed.
No, I'm actually gonna have to take off here shortly. But,
okay.
I'll just say my last few comments. So, you know, a lot of stuff. You know, I know unions get a bad rap in a lot of places recently because we haven't seen kind of the revolution that happened when they first established, and how these jobs were just outright killing people to get work done. And even places that are non-union have union developed ideas so that they could be competitive. So my family has always been, and you know, my wife's family has always been union our entire lives. So kind of just I'm in full support of everything they do, and I hope this works out for them, and that they get the deals they need.
And you say stuff about safety too. Back in the day, that's part of this as well, is safety on set, and I wonder if some of that has to do with, you know, the recent shooting on the set, of Rust. And there's so many other incidents, and a lot of it's not even just like the people, the writers and the actors on set, but like the crew on set are at danger so many times just from the hours that we work on set. And
I mean, this was some of the, because the guilds released like the list of demands, and like the studio's response to those demands.
Yeah.
And some of them were like increased penalties for like missing lunch, and they're like rejected.
Yeah.
What? Like the people are just like, let us eat, and the studios are like, nah, unreasonable.
Yeah.
And you know, it's stuff like that is just inhumane.
There's luckily I haven't run into that issue on any sets. We actually make sure that we charge them meal penalties if they run overtime. So which means like if you work so many hours, they have to feed you on sets, even non-union sets too, technically. You should make sure if you're working on film sets that you're getting fed. Let's just say that. And not just fucking $5 pizzas, guys. Like, I understand there's some indie sets that are real low budget that can't, you know, that's
pizza sounds good.
different thing. But if you're working with any production company, they should be helping out. Anyways, we run into the area where we charge them. Well, we don't charge them, but we make them feed us again. So we get our lunch. And then after so many hours, second lunch.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take off here.
Okay. Do you want to keep going, Mosier? For a little bit?
For a little bit, maybe. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys got more conversation. I know you do.
Yeah. Well, we want also answer Q's question as well. So, all right, dude. We'll see you later. Have fun.
See ya.
Later, man. All right. So, real quick before we dive into more, I guess let's answer Q's question. He says, "What's your thoughts about Mark Ruffalo suggesting actors go to go indie? Many commented that he is being hypocritical. Yeah, was being hypocritical, where they forgot he started through such circuits." Yes.
I actually kind of hope that Hollywood moves in this direction.
I think me and you are both big indie fans too.
Yeah.
So this is a question that's simple. Fucking do it.
Yeah, because to me, this is very similar to the time in Hollywood history. It was in like the 60s and 70s, especially, where studios were making these really big budget musicals and epics like they used to do in like the 40s and 50s. And those big budget things were flopping. And it's because they weren't adjusting to the times. And then out of that became New Hollywood. So then you have guys like Arthur Penn, and you have the movie brats with Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, Peter Bogdanovich, you know, like these kind of rough and tumble kids who were making movies that reflected what people were thinking at the time. So they were these nobodies. They got the name movie brats because they weren't well received by like the studios and like the higher ups and stuff. And I'm hoping we see something similar to that. We have filmmakers out there, I think, who are poised to kind of take those spots. I think that with this new studio thing, I think we might be ushering in a new era of like movie brats, a new era of like indie filmmaking.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. It's, just over the last few years, like I think what helped push that too was in a weird way, like COVID shut down stuff. Like it was kind of booming, starting to build up right before then with some good movies that were coming out, but like afterwards, I think everyone kind of just got over a lot of the comic book shit, to be honest. And you get a lot more of these cinematic, like legit films that are coming from lower budget studios. And it's one of those things. It's like when you go and watch some of these movies, and a lot of the times I'll go and watch a lot of the A24 movies, never watch a trailer for it because I'm like, I just want to go in blind, check it out.
And to be honest, most of the time when you watch a trailer for an A24 movie, it's not the way the trailer makes it seem either. A24 movies are very hard to market effectively, I think.
Yeah. It's one of those ones. I think the only one I actually watched before I watched the film was probably Everything Everywhere. And even that trailer, you're kind of like, dude, this is gonna be fucking trippy. And then you go watch the movie and it's fucking trippy. It's such a good film. But yeah, no, Q. I suggest, as well as Mark Ruffalo, just go the indie route, dude. Like that's we started the show off, if you weren't here or anyone was, with shouting out Trauma Entertainment. They're having some issues right now. They're in the fully independent company. They've been doing independent films for, I believe they're up to 50 years now. It's crazy. But a lot of guys got their start there. James Gunn, he's now running the DC sector. So there's a lot of good things that come from indie companies and independent film and independent cinema, just story wise, because it's not the same rehashed stuff that the studios are like, hey, we need another sparkly film, let's do this.
I will say my call is for people to actually support these smaller movies too.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't get the marketing that the big Marvel and superhero and like the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies, like these are like the blockbusters, and yes, they're going to get a ton of attention, but pay attention to the other movies too, and watch the trailers, go to the movies, go see them in theaters, get these movies money, because I feel like people don't know. Like sometimes I'll just go to a movie that I don't really know much about. I was just like, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Just go. And like a lot of the movies I've seen this year, I mean, I've seen so far 53 2023 movies. And a lot of those are like indie, small budget movies that maybe won't get that much attention, but like I want to give them my money. I want them to be able to make something else, because it's such a hard industry to make something in.
Oh yeah.
And so like if it's, and some things are really good, like there's a couple like really low budget sci-fi movies I've seen this year are fantastic. The Artifice Girl, if anyone's ever heard of The Artifice Girl, super low budget, deals with AI actually. Really good, and it kind of deals with the morality of AI. So check out The Artifice Girl. It's very low budget. It feels that way. It takes place in like one room, but it's fascinating. Another good one. See what it was called, Linoleum. It stars Jim Gaffigan and Rhea Seehorn, who plays in Better Call Saul, if you guys watch that. She plays Kim in that show. Linoleum, also a very good low budget sci-fi movie. And they're movies that you don't hear about, but if you pay attention enough, if you actually like seek them out, like it's worthwhile. And because a lot of people are like very down on like the modern cinema, is like, oh, there's no original ideas. There are, You just have to dig a little harder.
Yeah.
But it's much more rewarding when you find those.
Yeah. And the original ideas aren't going to be like your blockbusters. Like, to
No.
be honest, like if you're out like looking for like, you know, Avatar to blow your mind, which I don't really give a crap about Avatar, so I'm a hater. But yeah, I mean, even like the Fast and Furious, like I talked about it earlier. I love the Fast and Furious movies. I don't think that they're like the best cinema out in the world, dude. They're just fun flicks to me.
And you can like, and I'm in no way saying this is real cinema. Like, I'm not being that pretentious asshole. That's not what I'm saying.
Do it. Be that
If
pretentious.
if you like superhero movies, I like superhero movies. Like, fine, it's A+, you know. But like, don't let that think that that's all there is, because there's not. And you know, you do get the rare like big hit, like everywhere all at once, you know, all that like where it's like, okay, this was an indie thing. Like, this is the movie that by no means should have been as successful as it was in today's like market, but it was. But like, not all indie films are like that, you know. Like, some fly very under the radar. Maybe they'll find an audience like 5-10 years from now when it hits like a streaming service and be like, wow, can't believe that this didn't get more attention when it came out. Yeah.
There's a lot of those that just happen to fall out, and then there's and so many people, like you said, you know, there's no originality in, you know, film anymore, or the movies, or why should we pay for it? Or even like with the writer's strike and the actor's strike, it's like they're like, well, the movies suck anyway, so maybe they should do a better job if they want paid more. And like, I've heard people literally in person say that shit to me, and I'm just like, I don't think you know how that works. Like, the billionaire people that are in control of the studios, those are most likely the reasons those movies suck. And you know, because the writers bring them a good script, most likely. Well, not all the time. The writers bring them scripts. They're gonna be like, all right, now change 5 million things and basically just commercialize it and all these other things. And you're lucky enough if you get some indie films, and I think that's one thing I really like about A24 is you don't see a whole lot of commercialization in it. You know, same thing with Troma. Like Troma's a whole nother type of indie film company, but they're just, I think the guys at Troma are, to me anyways, they do it how I kind of want to do it when I'm like making movies and stuff, just having fun. It looks like they're having just so much fun.
And there's filmmakers out there who made a living making B movies. Yeah. Roger Corman.
Yeah.
Very famous filmmaker, very influential. Like, a lot of the people learned under Roger Corman. He made a career of essentially making bad movies. But they were like, he produced them, he wrote them, he had a style that was his own, and you know, he did like the original Little Shop of Horrors and stuff like that, you know. So he did like very B movie things, but they were good and they were successful because of what they were. And I feel like that stuff is harder to come by. It is out there though. Yeah. And you should give these people monies.
Give them all the monies. Don't buy groceries, give them the monies. Yes. Yeah, no, there's only so much you can say too about just check out indie films and all the time. And it's just one of those things that does go under the radar, especially for a lot of guys. And like, it's sad because I actually was talking to this guy who introduced himself to me as a film buff. Like I was just, you know, out and he said something and he's like, oh no, I follow that. So I definitely know because I'm like really big into following movies and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. I follow along too. I work in the industry sometimes and I do podcasts on, you know, different things within the industry. And he's like, oh yeah. And one, I completely proved him wrong because I told him Michael Bay was a producer on the new Beast Wars movie, and I totally was right. I was like, just because he's a producer doesn't mean he had anything to do with it. It's just a title they give him.
Producer a lot of times means absolutely nothing.
Oh yeah, it means nothing really. But he was just going on about, shit, I lost my train of thought now. he was just going on about, I really love movies and all these things, and all the movies he was talking about were those like mainstream titles and so I brought up other movies, and he's like, oh, this and this, and then of course he brought up, Everything Everywhere, but I'm like, everyone's talking about that because it won an Oscar, so everybody's talking about that. I tried to get him to talk about films that not the ordinary person would talk about, and so you got people out there saying they're just film knowledgeable guys, but they're not really watching everything. Not that you have to, you don't need to, but it's just like
you should know that there's there's other things out there, and Everything Everywhere All at Once is not the epitome of indie cinema.
No, it's not. There are better films out there than that movie. There are 100% better films out there than that. Especially just for production value and stuff. Not production value, for story value and things like that. So it's an interesting time to be talking about films in the film industry, and hearing other people's thoughts really is what it comes down to for me. It's like I get that you're saying you're a film buff or you're a film guy and you know all these things, but it's like you also need to open your palate up a little bit more. Kind of like people, like if you're claiming that you're a food enthusiast, open your fucking palate up and try some new things.
It's like it'd be like saying I'm a foodie, I love food, but your favorite restaurant's like Applebee's. That might be fine.
Yeah.
But there are better restaurants than Applebee's.
Yeah, no, easily. And I'm one of those guys, like I said, again, I love the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
But I also love so many more things, and I can at least say they're not great films because I have this other catalog of stuff that I watch, that I understand. Like trauma movies are entertaining, and sometimes the stories that they're telling are great. The production value is horrible, but they are sometimes good stories in there. Just like any other Hollywood movie, sometimes the production value is really good and the story just sucks. So
my philosophy on movies is watch as much of everything as you can.
Yeah.
So you actually develop a taste in things that way.
Yeah.
And there's we were talking earlier, I'm not a fan of the Fast and Furious movies, but I have seen most of them, and I know that I'm not a fan of them. But I've seen them. Yeah. And there is a couple of them I actually do enjoy. I like Fast 5 and whatever 6 was called.
Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah. I liked those, so it's you might find things that you don't expect to like if you just open
watch
yourself
stuff
up to it. Yeah. I like to watch, some shitty kung fu movies and stuff like that. They're maybe not be the best ones. It's not going to be Enter the Dragon or whatever.
Yeah.
But I like watching those. I like watching some of those shoegaze, Duplass Brothers, indie movies. And
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there that there's another good sci-fi movie I just watched, indie sci-fi. It's a Duplass Brother production. It's called Biosphere. It's also a pretty interesting movie.
Biosphere. What year was that one made?
This year.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see that one then. Because there's another movie called Biosphere. I believe it was called Biosphere.
Yeah, and so it's just watch everything. I don't care if you're watch the weird art house shit.
Oh, I was about to watch this movie the other night too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check that one out.
it's good, it's weird, and if you watch that and think like there are no original ideas anymore, you and I did not watch the same film.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I used to be that guy. I was like, oh, there's nothing original in Hollywood anymore. And maybe if you add the word Hollywood, sometimes you can be right,
Yeah.
But I mean, there are indie films that are made in Hollywood too. There are other original films still made and coming out of Hollywood. But yeah, I always tell people, open up your palette, man. You got to watch more stuff, and it gives you a better understanding of when you're talking about other films that you do love that aren't great, and you can like potentially see things in those other movies that other people didn't see. Like you like Tivis said earlier, before he took off, he was talking about like the Snyder Bros for a second, like it's like they've found Snyder's movies to be like the end all be all of what DC can be. And I've seen so many movies and I'm like, if that's what you think the end all be all is, then I feel bad, man.
Yeah, my problem with the Snyder stuff is like, people, if you love them, fine.
Dude, I like them. And that's the thing. It's like I like them, but I'm still not going to be that guy who goes around saying they're the best thing that DC's ever done.
And Zack Snyder's a genius. He's the best director. It's like he's not. He's kind of a style over substance guy. He thinks he's way smarter than he is.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, that's kind of how I feel Michael Bay became. Michael Bay, when he first started, like, dude, like Bad Boys 1 was great. Then like he got into this like over glossy, shiny like aesthetic, and then just gave up on actually caring what the movies were gonna do.
Mm-hmm. The Rock is also fantastic.
The Rock is also a great one. Yeah, it was pre Bad Boys too. So yeah,
but yeah, and I'm not saying that if you say you love the Zack Snyder verse, it's a bad thing. I don't like it, and I'm excited for what's coming more than I would be for another Snyderverse movie personally. But I'm just saying, don't pretend like this is cinema. This is like art.
The best thing
you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like, because there are way better things out there, and you just have to like find it.
Now
watch old movies.
And I've talked about this in the past, like say Batman v Superman. There are some shots in there that are just beautiful shots, but that's what they are. They out of context and everything else. That's what it becomes. Because there's this shot when Superman's in Juarez, in Mexico, and all the people are like, reaching out to him like he's a god and everything. I still just find that to be like a beautiful shot because you can see that happening in real life too.
See, Zack Snyder's good at posing.
Yes.
Yes. He's not great at writing or directing, but he's great at
Sucker Punch is a lot of posing.
Sucker Punch is mainly posing, and then it's like a bad like lobotomy ending.
Yeah. I didn't think that oh, my dogs are going crazy. That his zombie one was too bad. I think see him do something that wasn't based on other people's content.
I actually had a lot of fun, but I don't know if that was because that was the first original movie I saw in theaters after the theaters were opening back up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had seen because during like the early,
you got to see it in theaters.
I did see it in theaters. Yeah,
okay.
It had a very short theatric run.
It was
before
like
it hit Netflix.
Yeah.
And I went with a buddy of mine and I was like, I don't even care. I'm at that point I was starving for like an original movie.
Yeah. Did you see the prequel one that they did?
I didn't.
That is a good one if you like, heist movies and stuff.
Was it in focus?
Yes.
Because
and glossy.
most of Army of the Dead or whatever the thing is called.
Yeah, Army of the Dead, I believe it was.
Like most of that movie is horribly out of focus.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's like kind of where like he was just maybe he was just practicing because they did that stupid scene, the nightmare scene in the end of his Justice League cut.
Mm.
And it's like that was horrible. That was really out of focus. And people thought it was like the most perfect. I was like, nah, dude, like whoever he hired, he probably did it himself. Like they just didn't give a shit. They're like, we gotta hide the bad makeup and stuff because this is cheap.
After I saw Zack Snyder's zombie movie, I called it Boca the movie because it was just like Boca to the point where it's just not in focus. Like if they moved like an inch to the right or left, they were not in focus anymore.
Yeah. No, he didn't have that issue with the prequel one of it. And the prequel one's not a zombie movie, so.
Did he shoot the prequel one though? Because he was like the cinematographer for the first one. He was like directing and shot it himself.
What was that movie called? I forget.
It's like something of Thieves.
Army of Thieves. Let's see here, man. It's always fun doing this live, huh? Army of Thieves. He didn't even direct it. He just wrote it.
Oh, really? I thought he directed it.
Maybe that's why it's better. Oh no, he didn't even write it. It's just based on characters by him. So
he had like nothing to do with it. He was just.
Oh no, wait. Yeah, story by. Okay, yeah, he's on here. Story by. All right, so you're talking about the cinematographer was not him.
Yeah, the first one he directed and he was the cinematographer for, and I think that was to cut down on like crew and stuff like that because he was making it in a post-COVID.
Right. Probably cut down on the budget too.
Yeah, but he's not a great cinematographer.
Let's see here. He directed, wrote, and where the heck is that? He is the cinematographer, and he is the. Oh, that's it. Oh no, wait. Oh no, that's producer. Okay, yeah, yep. Wow. Way to go, Zach. Yeah, but the Army of Thieves is a pretty good one. I enjoyed that. It's no Ocean's 11, but it's still a pretty fun heist movie for what it is.
I do love heist movies.
Yeah.
Heist movies and movies about con people. Love them.
There was a heist movie we watched recently that came out, and it was pretty good. But I don't remember what it was, so maybe it wasn't
not
that good. That Outlaws movie is like a kind of like a heist comedy type stuff going in it. So that's pretty cool.
I like Adam Devine. So when I saw it, he had a new movie. I was like, I'll probably check it out eventually.
I haven't seen him in anything in a while too, so I was like, oh, cool. He's there. It's a Adam Sandler produced film. Adam Sandler's not in it. Like his regulars aren't in it. His wife is in it, but and no one else. So, you got anything else, dude? You want to go back to the strike or nah?
I think we pretty well covered it. I think.
Yeah, we got that out of our system. I want to hear everybody else's thoughts, even for the people that weren't watching along with us. Just comment on the feed anywhere that you're listening to this, because I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on the strike and what they think of the writers and the actors. I'm like, when are the directors going to go on strike? But they already went on strike recently, so
they already hammered out their deal, so they're good.
Oh yeah, they didn't go on strike; they did their deal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm curious where it all goes, dude. I'm very watching cautiously because it can affect all of us.
Yeah. especially for us, you know, who work or want to work more in the industry. It's like it's going one way or the other. This is going to be a monumental time for the entertainment industry.
I am taking advantage. I will say this right now. I am taking advantage. I am shopping scripts at the moment. So
don't be a scab, dude.
They're not going to a big studio, so it's not the same. And I'm not union, so.
But if you break strike, you will never be in the WGA.
Oh yeah, no, you won't. But
or the or the SAG or anything.
You can still sell your scripts out to like indie companies right now, especially if you're not union, to the non-union companies and all that. And you gotta be very careful as to, are these little companies owned by the bigger guys? That's the hardest part, because you know Miramax used to be owned by, or are they still owned by Disney? They kind of like just closed it up. I
don't think Miramax really exists anymore, because that was Harvey Weinstein's company.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just dissolved it and went to the Weinstein brand, and then whatever.
Yeah.
Now you can't touch any of those movies unless he signs off on it.
Yeah, he still owns Dogma.
Yep.
Which is why the Blu-ray for Dogma is like $80.
Ridiculous. I keep going to pawn shops and like little like mom and pop shops and being like, hey, you guys got this Blu-ray? Because I know it's the only way I'm getting it for like $5.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Or if you go to like a garage sale and so like, oh, I'm just getting rid of my old discs, and it happens to be in there, and people don't do any research.
Yeah.
But like, if you're gonna go online for Dogma on Blu-ray, you're gonna be shelling out some serious coin.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're tapped out, man.
I think so too.
Nope. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching live. Maybe we'll do this more if you guys like it. Let us know in comments and stuff. What's up? You got something else?
Nope.
You look like you were about to say something. All right.
Nope.
All right. Well, with that said, guys, I have one quote today to read, and Tivis isn't here, but this quote is very thematic. Said by Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, of course. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they didn't stop to think if they should.
Life finds a way.
Hopefully not AI is the way. All right, guys. Peace.
Later.
You just finished another great episode of Operation Babble. You can catch every episode of Operation Babble on all your audio streaming services, including SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, and more. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Operation Babble, and join the conversation today by searching for the Operation Babble group on Facebook. Links also in the description. Thanks, and have a great day.